Good morning, Gator Nation. Dylan Denmark here. Graham Marsh over there. Florida gets the dub 86-67 over Texas A&M. Hope everyone's having a good morning. Have a good Super Bowl Sunday. Will you be one of the 20, I think it's projected 26 million people that are projected to miss work tomorrow? We'll get into that a little bit later. But Graham, the Gators yesterday, I don't know about you. I was watching the end of the Carolina Duke game, so
Yes,
I
sir.
kind of started like 5 minutes behind on the Gator game.
Mhm.
And once I got caught up halfway through the first half, Texas A&M starts the game with 2 points, 1 for 22 from the field, 0 for 11 from three. And I don't know about you, but at that point, I was like, I'm pretty confident, even though the score was 11-2. Halfway through the first half, I'm like, I think the Gators are going to come out victorious in this one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a college basketball game where it took 10 minutes for a team to score more than 2 points. Um, that was pretty unbelievable. And it was I was getting a little bit upset with the broadcast because the broadcast was making it seem like it was just because A&M was just ice cold and couldn't make anything. That was certainly part of it. I mean, they were 1 for 27 for shooting. Like obviously they were ice cold. But a lot of it was because they were taking a lot of bad shots because Florida was suffocating them defensively. So, look, of course, if you only score 2 points across 10 minutes, part of that is going to be because you've missed some shots. I'm not trying to say that it's not like Florida got to steal every possession. But at the same time, Florida won this basketball game because against a hostile crowd competing for sole ownership of the number one spot in the SEC on a Saturday night, Florida just suffocated them from opening tip. And Dylan, if you want to take a crowd out of I was about to say a football game. You want to take a crowd out of a basketball game, holding the opponent to only 2 points in the first 10 minutes is certainly one way to do it. That will work. Because I don't know if you know this about fans, Dylan, but fans like offense. It doesn't matter what sport. Fans like offense. Fans like dunks. They like threes. They like seeing the Spalding. They like seeing the orange go through the net. And they didn't see it very much until the second 10 minutes of the first half. And Florida was kind of in the driver's seat from there on in the game. I don't think they were never trailing.
They only led 2-1, so they got their first basket early, and then that was it.
Yeah. So just I mean, a complete ass whooping, and that's kind of been the trend for the Gators lately.
No, I heard. I really don't pay attention to the broadcast because I'm kind of like zipping through them on my phone when I'm watching the game, but I'm not really paying attention. But I did hear that one time when he was like, A&M's just ice cold wherever they just can't hit a shot from anywhere. And there was one time, I forget when it was. It was at some point in the first half where Florida has a turnover because A&M was doing a good job of the full court press.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a couple of times.
Damn game.
Yeah. And there was a couple of times where they just got the ball past the half court stripe to not get a violation. And there was one time where I think it was Thomas Howell. He just gets it past the half court stripe, turns it over, comes back the other way, and gets that block on the backboard. I'm like, whoa, is this LeBron?
Yeah, that was crazy. So two things that I actually really like that Texas A&M did defensively that I did think gave us some issues. And thank God that Florida gave Texas A&M far more issues offensively, or else probably would have had some issues later on in the game finding enough buckets to win. But the two things A&M did was the press. Obviously you already mentioned the press. Like if you watch any of the game, you know that was a huge storyline. Florida breaks the press really well because they're a really smart team. They're well coached. Everybody that plays has multiple years of experience playing college basketball. So you have good decision makers on the floor. They don't turn the ball over with stupid stuff very often. And you have bigs that can really move, right? So like that's a recipe to break a press pretty quickly. So most teams don't try to press Florida unless they're desperate at the end of a game very often. But I will say Florida likes to break the press the same exact way every time. And it usually always works because, again, normally it's like a team hasn't pressed all game. They're down 15 against the Gators with, 5 minutes left. They got to try to conjure up some turnovers to see if they can claw their way back in this game. With A&M, they were just pressing from jump, and they were prepared for the way that Florida likes to break the press, which is they always have a guard inbound, and they send everybody towards the guard. They send one guy to the right, they send one guy to the left, and they have Condon come up the middle, and he'll catch the pass and then hand it right back off to the guard. So they're able to get the guard going with a head of steam back towards the cup. And they do that all the time, and it's incredibly successful. Where A&M was giving Florida some problems is they knew that's what Florida wanted to do against the press, so they were sitting right in front of Condon to catch that entry pass, and it was hard to go anywhere, and they didn't really know what to do. So all of a sudden, the other two guys that are on this half of the court, they're trying to zigzag and try to, find an open lane to catch the ball. You got Boogie and Lee and whoever else it may be trying to catch the ball. And what Florida really likes to do, because this is what you should like to do against the press, it's really effective, especially when you have the speed and athleticism that Florida does. You're trying to figure out a way to catch the ball going towards the cup to get to, because with a press, you're on the attack. You're trying to get them back on their heels, right? And A&M did a really good job of kind of sitting in the immediate entry pass Florida wants, and it kind of left Florida scrambling a couple of times. They did a good job of still not really turning it over too much. It's not like Florida just, couldn't get the ball across half court. They just did a good job of making it just a little bit more of a pain in the ass to get it across half court. Now, all of a sudden, shot clock's down a little bit more. You're just a little bit more tired, and it makes it a little bit harder to get into whatever action you want to do on the other end. So I actually really liked what A&M did. I thought they were really well coached on the defensive end with doing that. And I thought it was a good strategy. The other thing that they did is they kind of went the Auburn route in the half court, and they just crowded the hell out of the paint with the Gators. They said, look, we know you guys cannot shoot, and we know that if we give you the paint, you're going to kill us. So guess what we're going to do? We're going to put 3 guys, 4 guys. We're going to take guys from the stands. We're going to find Johnny Manziel off the street, and we're going to put everybody in the paint, and we're not letting you beat us this way. Florida ended up still beating them this way because they were pressing, got a lot of transition points, whatever. But I was saying early in the game, I'm like, man, this is going to be a game where Urban Klavzar is going to need to hit some big threes. Because if you're going to leave the arc that open in an effort to crowd the paint against Chinyalu, Condon, and Houck mainly, and then, Boogie when he's on the dribble drive and, different guys, you're going to have to make them pay with some threes at some point. And it's not like Florida was, raining threes out of the sky, but Klavzar especially was able to hit enough to make it sting to pretty much make that lead insurmountable once A&M only had 2 points in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, Thomas Howell finished, I think, with like 22 points. Like every other Gator, I don't think no other Gator had more than 12.
Mm-hmm.
Did a good job of spreading the ball around. Talk about points in the paint. They had 72 points against Kentucky on Sunday. They didn't play a mid-game week this week. And then yesterday they had 46 points in the paint. So kind of, yeah, you would tend to agree that was a lot of their game plan, and they were trying to get them to shoot, and Florida was still able to beat them. One thing I took away from the game yesterday, I'm sure you and many others would agree, Florida better get out of the first weekend. I mean, this team is too good to lose either in the round of 64 or the round of 32 in their tournament, and they should be playing at least for the Sweet 16. I think most people would agree with that.
I was thinking about this after the game. When the season started, Dylan, and Florida was preseason number 3, lose to Arizona, who is still the number 1 team in the country. That first game, and then obviously lost to Duke at Cameron, lost to UConn. Lost like kind of the big matchups they had in the non-con, whatever. Ever since then, when they've started to really find their groove, they've been probably the most underrated team in the AP poll since then. I forget what was Florida ranked yesterday, 16 or something like that. 17. Dylan, you're going to agree with me here. You can't name 10 teams in college basketball that would beat Florida on a neutral field.
Not right now, no.
You can't. And, taking a step further, there's not 10 teams that would be favored to beat Florida. There's maybe more like 5, 6, something like that. I think both Carolina teams, Duke and Carolina, would be favored against them. Arizona, again, feel like fair. Houston and a few others. But I'll tell you this, man. For the amount of love and attention BYU's gotten this year,
Well,
I would love the Gators. I think the Gators would run BYU off the damn court, personally.
Yeah. That's the one team outside of the SEC that I've watched the most just because of that player they have.
Devonta.
Yeah.
But yeah, so to your point, like throughout that non-con schedule, just because it was such a hard schedule, and Florida hadn't found their groove yet. We didn't know if this team was even good. We didn't know if they were even a good team. And we don't know if they're a great team yet. You don't become a great team, and we don't know if anybody's great. You don't become a great team until March. But we know now that this team is really, really, really good. We know that. We know that much. We know that they are going to be hell for any team in the tournament, the SEC tournament or the NCAA tournament. We know that nobody should want to play the Gators. That's what we know. And this is just such a Todd Golden staple. When he smells blood in the water, he puts you away, man. And and his team plays that way. We saw the assistant coach last night get into it with A&M. I personally, it's not like if somebody gets in like a nasty fight or something, like that's like obviously a step too far. But I don't mind a little scuffle after a game, man. Like that shows that your staff and your players have some edge and some fire. And like that guy took a cheap shot at Thomas Houck during the game. So like, look, like I got no issue with that. It's good. It's good old fashioned edge and fire and like it was a good basketball game with some hot heads in the end that are emotional both ways. Like there ain't nothing wrong with that. But I just think this team is finding such a good groove. Everybody agrees, man. The scouting report's not hard on this one, right? Like you don't have to be John Rothstein to figure out this Florida team. Like they're the best team in the country at everything basically, except for shooting threes, and they're probably the worst team in the country at shooting threes. So if they lose in March, if they don't repeat as national champions, I could probably tell you today that they're going to lose that game because they couldn't shoot.
Yeah.
And if they win, they're going to win. Like any game they win, it's going to be because they physically imposed their will on whoever they play.
Yeah, 6 games left in the season, at least for the regular season in SEC play. They play Georgia Wednesday night against the old beloved Mike White.
Oh, yeah.
And then next Saturday, they play at home against Kentucky. That game will be at 3 o'clock. I was looking at the standings. Currently lead the SEC. Florida has an 8-2 record. They lead the Kentucky Wildcats by half a game because Kentucky is 8-3. And they have a 1-game lead over Arkansas and Texas A&M, and then a 2-game lead over quite a few teams: Vanderbilt, Tennessee, Alabama, and Missouri. Do you expect Florida to be a 1 seed in the SEC tournament?
Yes. Yeah.
So you feel pretty confident about that?
I don't know that Florida's going to lose another SEC game, to be honest with you, Dylan.
So you don't think they're going to lose to Georgia, Kentucky, South Carolina, at Ole Miss, at Texas, and then Arkansas at home?
No.
I think they'll be favored in all of those games.
Yeah, and I think they're going to win all of them. Because, I mean, look, this team has proven they know how to win in March. I mean, not this, like, specific team, but, like, I'm saying more like this staff, Golden, like, this program, I should say. I think it's crunch time. I think they're finding their stride in crunch time. I think they're only getting better. I think right now, if you were to pause their growth for the rest of the year, they are comfortably the best team in the SEC. And that's not what's going to happen. They're going to continue to get better. So I don't really foresee them losing. I tend to think they might drop one of those maybe at most, in my opinion. But other than that, I think they're pretty much going to be in the driver's seat in the SEC all the way until the nets are cut. The nuts are cut.
The nuts are cut. It's a new one.
In Nashville at the end of the SEC tournament.
All right.
How I foresee this going. And I think that the real challenge is going to be in the NCAA tournament when to the first point you made on today's show, the big challenge, Dylan, is okay. That first weekend, I think Florida's going to be probably a three or four seed. So that first weekend, when they play some random team that we've never heard of besides the NCAA tournament, the couple times they've made it, that has, 3 dudes that are the size of you and me on the court, or 40% 3-point shooters, and they're hot.
They're playing Benedict.
Right. Like that, I can foresee that being an issue for this team because, again, Florida's been able to physically impose their will on everybody. But other than Alabama, that's how Alabama likes to play, they haven't played a whole lot of teams that, like, quite literally, they never even need to step foot in the paint offensively if they don't need to. They just want to bombs away from beyond the arc. They won't be able to stop Florida inside, but 3 points is worth more than 2 at the end of the day. That can be a little bit worrisome with a team that is struggling to shoot this poorly from beyond the arc. But other than that, man, like you can't. I could name about maybe 5 teams in the country where, neutral site, everyone's healthy, nobody gets in foul trouble, we're just going to play a great, clean basketball game, I would pick to beat over the Gators. And we've already said them. It's Duke, it's Carolina, we didn't say Kansas,
Arizona.
And Arizona. I might be missing like a few. I just did that 5, whatever. I might be missing like 1 or 2. I'm sure I am, but like y'all get the point. Like I think everybody kind of generally agrees with this. Like Florida's probably right now this like 7th, 8th team in the country, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let me respond real quick to that, but I got to check my breakfast casserole that's in the oven. I want it to burn real quick, so give me like 30 seconds.
All right. So in the meantime, I'm going to talk about Boogie Fland. So Boogie Fland post haircut. It's unbelievable. Like this guy, like the shooting's kind of the same. It's not like he became, Ray Allen in the meantime. But I mean, this guy, like, I feel like his hands are magnets to the ball on defense. Like he can't stop getting turnovers. It's unbelievable. And it feels like lately, especially as Florida started to blow teams out by 15 plus, those runs feel like they always start with a couple of Boogie Fland steals and lead to a couple of easy transition buckets. Now the game is kind of a track meet, and nobody can compete with Florida when they're running in the open court because not only is Boogie great in transition, Xavier Lee is actually very good in transition as tough of a year as he's had. But also, you've effectively got 3 bigs on the court at all times since Tommy's been playing a 3 all year. And there's no 3 bigs in the country that run the floor better than Tommy Houck, Alex Compton, and Ruben Chinyelu. So when you have literally everybody on the court that can run in a track meet, if you're getting turnovers and getting stops on defense, you're not going to lose a whole lot of basketball games.
Yes. When did he cut his hair?
It was a Tennessee game. That was the first game that he had a haircut. And it was, I can tell you when it was. It was January 3rd or 4th, something like that.
So right before they started conference play. That was when they played Missouri.
In conference play because it was because they played Tennessee. I think that
so Tennessee was their 3rd conference game. So they played Missouri and then Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tennessee was the 3rd one. So
whatever date that was, because that was a Saturday, and the Jaguars played the Bills in the playoffs the next day. So it was that day. I remember that distinctly. So I remember watching that game with some buddies, and I was like, "Whoa, Boogie with a haircut! That is." It was like, I mean, he looks way better. If you look back at Boogie with the dreads now, he looks better with the haircut. So he's playing better. So that works. But dude, this dude, like, golly, I mean, it seems like Boogie is a microcosm of the whole team because if Boogie could shoot, he could shoot threes. he would be like Wooden Award watch list right now. Like he'd be arguably the best guard in the country if he could shoot threes, because this dude is explosive as hell off the dribble. He's a really good mid-range shooter. He's a great finisher at the cup. He's a good passer. And defensively, man, this guy is an absolute menace. He is a menace. I'm going to give high praise here. He is Elijah Martin-like defensively. Like, he's that good of a defender. And you remember last year, a lot of Florida's runs, and why Elijah Martin was so important to last year's championship run, a lot of Florida runs when they were in a rut, there would be two things that would get Florida out of ruts last year: Walter Clayton threes and Elijah Martin defensive stops. Those were like the things that would get Florida going. And this year it's been Boogie steals. It's like, Florida might be in a back and forth, and maybe they're even losing to somebody. And then Boogie gets a steal. We're off and running. It turns into a finish at the other end, be it a Condon dunk, a Tommy dunk, or whatever it is. And it's like, once that happens, it's like, all right, now we're here. Like, now we're in this zone. Now we're just going to kick your ass, and you can't do anything about it. It's really, really impressive to watch.
Will you be one of the 26 million people that's not going to show up to work tomorrow?
I'll be at work tomorrow.
You're going to be at work. I'll be at work tomorrow. I'm not even excited about the game tonight. I'm kind of like most people. I'm just like, whatever. I'll watch it. I'm not, I don't have a lot of gambling at stake yet. I don't think I'm going to. This just feels like another football game.
Yeah, there's nothing necessarily like very historic with either team winning it, I think it just really sucks that the Chiefs finally don't make the playoffs and they finally fall off a little bit. We know they're going to be back, so they got Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, but like, they finally have a down year, and the goddamn Patriots are right back. Like, come on,
man. Fans have suffered for 5-6 years, man.
Like, come on, man. Like, how can we not, like, obviously we'd prefer the Jags, and that would be awesome. But even if it's not the Jags, can I get a Ravens? Can I get a Bills?
Bills blew it. The Bills blew it.
I know they did. I know. But can I get one of those teams? It's got to be the damn Patriots, man. Like, come on.
Well, and it's like me and JJ, who I was just got the phone with before we started this pod. It was like, all right, so the AFC and NFC championship. Okay, we saw Denver, Seattle like 10 years ago. We've seen New England, Seattle about 10 years ago. We've seen New England and the Rams that was 2018. And we haven't seen Denver and the Rams, but we've seen these teams all make it to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And there's no like sexy storyline. I guess the only one would have been the Rams with Stafford and, their high potent offense, but obviously they weren't able to win, and Seattle's defense is really good. And the Rams probably be in the game if their special teams was if they didn't muff that punt and then the Seattle scores right away. So,
Dylan, you know what maturing is?
Yes, I do know what maturing is.
Maturing is realizing that there's not actually very much parity in the NFL.
No, the same teams pick it within the top 10 of the NFL draft almost every year.
And then the same teams are playing in the conference championship every year as well.
Yeah.
Or at least like the divisional. I would say like the divisional round and beyond is pretty much always the same group of characters, and then throw in like a wild card every now and again. And that team rarely ever makes the Super Bowl anyways.
There's always one team that picks within the top 5 or the top 10 of the NFL draft that makes the playoffs the following year. There's always one. Like it was Washington 2 years ago. It's the Patriots this year. I know the Jags were in that too. There's always one, but by and large, it's what team has the best quarterback in the division, and that team is usually going to be making the playoffs.
So it's kind of an interesting topic, because especially like you, like I'm interested in your take on this, like being a coach yourself. I was listening to Pardon My Take earlier this week, and they had Draymond Green on. It was actually a really good interview.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like Draymond, but he is like really entertaining and hilarious. So I did enjoy the interview. But he was talking about how, and I thought this was really interesting because like I don't think we think about this enough when like playoff and the NBA and the NFL and college football, whatever it is, March Madness. I don't think we talk about this enough, but he was saying the most underrated thing in sports is knowing how to win a championship. And you don't know how until you do it. So the first one's always the hardest.
Mm-hmm.
But he was talking about like, he was talking about specifically about the NBA, obviously, especially in the NBA, because it's like you got to go through 7-game series after 7-game series. Like it takes a lot to beat a team 4 times, not just once. But just generally speaking, I think it's the same thing in the NFL. Like it's not a coincidence that the Chiefs finally have a year where they're not the Chiefs that we've known them to be. And yet still, the other team that's dominated the AFC for the last 15 years is the team we find in the Super Bowl once again. And it's obviously not the Brady Belichick Patriots anymore, but it's Mike Vrabel who played on those teams. And he's the one running the show, right? And it's like, and then like Robert Kraft as an owner, right? Like ownership matters a lot more than I think people realize in the NFL.
Yes.
Like they thought Gerard Mayo was going to run this organization. Like you could tell they had big plans for Gerard Mayo. It didn't work out last year. They weren't very good, but everybody kind of thought he'd get at least one more year. But turns out Mike freaking Vrabel is available. Guess what? They go get Mike Vrabel. They're in the Super Bowl. Like that's called ownership doing what it takes to win. So, but it was just when Draymond said that, and I was just like, that's such a good point because like, it's not a coincidence the Patriots find themselves right back in this. It's not a coincidence that the Rams are once again in the NFC Championship. It's not a coincidence that, after the run with Russell Wilson and the Legion of Boom and the Seahawks, how good they were, then they kind of fall off.
And the fall off wasn't even that fall off. It was they're winning 9-10 games
right,
a year.
Right. The fall off went from great team to good team, and now they're right back. Like at an organizational level, at an ownership level, knowing what it takes and how to win and what winning looks like, the same organizations tend to do it. So it's the same organizations that are still playing football in late January and early February.
Yeah. And it's always the same teams that are picking. Right now, they're firing their coach, the Browns, the Raiders. Usually it's been the Jags in the last 15 years. It's been the Dolphins the last 15, 20 years. I mean, it's cyclical. It's the owners. And a lot of it has to do with they know when to push the right buttons. And a lot of time is they sometimes get their ego in their way and they want to have control. And, it's the same thing year after year.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm in the same boat. I'm not like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch the Super Bowl. It's going to be such a crazy game. Because, like, even with the Chiefs, I know, like, I'm glad to not see the Chiefs in it. I'm sure most people would agree with that. But they have been a good villain the last couple of years that people can, and it's something to root against in the Super Bowl. So it does give it a little bit more juice. Versus, like, I know everybody hates the Patriots. Like, I hate the Patriots too. I'm certainly not rooting for them today. But it's not the Brady Belichick Patriots, so it's not the same juice that it would have been in 2016. In Seattle, like if Seattle wins, like I'll be happy for them, but I'm not like, oh my God, that's so amazing to see Seattle. It's like, all right, cool. The one person I'll be genuinely like super happy for is Sam Darnold. Like that'll be pretty damn cool. Like considering what he's gone through, like the Jets casting him aside because they're the Jets and can't do anything right. And basically a couple of years ago, we thought Sam Darnold was, we thought he was just Ginger Gardner Minshew. And now it turns out he's actually still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And to come all the way back and win a Super Bowl would be really cool. That'd be a cool story. But besides that, I agree with you. It's kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, I'll watch. I'm gonna be somewhere with a buddy, and then I'm just gonna hang out and chill. Although the Bad Bunny performance, I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna watch all of it, so that way when I watch Fox News tomorrow, I'm gonna make sure that they are gonna be on point because, last year with Kendrick Lamar and his halftime show, I mean it was a rap concert essentially. and they were all riled up. With Bad Bunny, it's not going to be on steroids times 10 as compared to last year. So I'm probably that's the one thing I'm looking forward to most out of anything in this game.
So this performance is interesting because I think it's a very big example of how disconnected people are from reality.
What do you think? How do you think the conversation started about being on halftime show? How do you think? So we're sitting at the table. How do you think it gets brought up?
Roger Goodell wants to make the NFL a global sport. He listened to 3 Bad Bunny songs.
He didn't do that.
He saw they were all in Spanish, and he was like, "That's my guy."
He went on whatever the streams. I don't know if it was Spotify or Apple Music, and he saw that he was at the top of the board, and he didn't know who he was. And the PR team in the NFL sat there, and they were like, "Well, some Americans know, but not a lot of Americans know about him."
Mm-hmm.
So now it is our job to not amplify him and put him on the big stage. I think that's how the conversation kind of started, and it kind of went from there.
So I just think like it's going to be so interesting because, to your point, Fox and all the other, and like, they're going to talk so much about how it was so controversial. By the way, spoiler alert, if anybody's going to turn on Fox News on Monday, spoiler alert, they're going to say the show is terrible. Like, the show hasn't happened. I promise.
I don't know, Graham.
I promise you, those graphics are already preloaded. They're going to say it's terrible. Like, that Bunny could put on, he could put on a Prince level show, and they're going to say it was, I promise you. But here's the truth, the cold hard truth about it, Dylan. Nobody cares.
No. Nobody
cares, bro. To your point about how people are going to go to work on Monday, like, people are going to not go to work hungover, and they're going to sleep through Monday, or they're just going to go to work and just do their job on Monday. Like, nobody cares. Like, there's such a fake outrage at the top politically on both sides. Fox does it, CNN does it, they all do it, right? But it's just such a funny visual of like how much they just live in this cloud above society, and the rest of us just live our lives. Like, I will think about Bad Bunny's performance, whether it's the greatest performance of all time or terrible. I will think about it maybe for like 30 seconds next week.
Yeah, I will be in tune because I will be on Facebook the entire time, and I'm just going to hit refresh for the boomers, because Facebook is the greatest social media platform because it's the only place where boomers just get to launch and they just get to say whatever it is off their chest. It used to be the bar. Now it's Facebook, and Facebook will never die.
It's also the only social media platform where it just doesn't matter if you discern reality from AI. Boomers, no disrespect to the boomers listening, but like,
disrespect to the boomers.
Some of y'all can probably like admit, like, you've probably they can't tell when it's AI. They have no idea. Like, somebody will on Monday, somebody will make an AI video of Bad Bunny like taking his pants off or something during the show. And all of the Facebook people that watched Kid Rock instead will all believe it's real. And they'll be like, wow, what a shame. The NFL just letting this happen. I promise you it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It will
I just hope that Bad Bunny just goes to the full, like, wearing a dress, wears makeup. Just like, we're going to, he's going to be himself. And apparently that's who he is. I don't know. I don't give a damn. I just think Seattle's going to win the game by about 4 or 5 points. That's what the spread is. And then, and that'll be that.
Can I, as we go here, can I offer a solution to this year's Super Bowl halftime show? An alternative show, not Kid Rock, Turning Point USA show, like this needs to be the show, and everybody would love it. What if instead of a musical act this year, they do something different, and it's just Ruben Chinyelu getting rebounds?
Everybody would be pissed at that.
That's a phenomenal halftime. It's just about 20 minutes of Chinyelu just getting boards and just putting it back up. That's all I need to see.
Something that America could all get together. Either you do one or two things. You do the baby race, and you have multiple. Say what?
Baby race would be great.
Multiple baby races, and then you have a bracket, and then we work our way down during the halftime show. Or we get little kids like 6 years old that play a football game against mascots
Or dogs.
Corgis.
The frisbee dog stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Classic. It works every time.
I just enjoy grown ass mascots running over 6-year-olds.
No,
like, it's the greatest thing.
That's my preference as well. But I will just tell you, dogs, like you can't lose with dogs.
No. So, all right, Graham. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and hopefully my breakfast casserole didn't burn. I turned the oven off and then I opened it, so it should be good.
Damn casserole since before we started the show.
Yeah. Well, it's 8 scrambled eggs and it got some other things mixed in it. And according to the internet, it takes about 40 to 60 minutes, and we've been on here for 35.
Bro, just do what I do. Make it. Just eat some Cinnamon Toast Crunch and call it a day.
Yeah, but this casserole I got a plan for the week. See, I cook it in a dish and then I chop it up and then I eat it for the rest of the week. Say what?
You're a meal prep guy now?
No, I've always done this, but I'm doing it more now because I'm not home during the day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a meal prep guy.
Yeah, dude, I'm benching like 135 and I can squat like 155 like 5 times now.
Damn.
Yeah. Pretty impressive.
Strength.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I'm built like a bird. It's pretty impressive.
You go before or after the women doing 155?
I started the day 9 a.m. I don't know what happens after that, but 9 a.m. Yeah, football players over here doing like 255, 300. I'm like, guys, let's take a lot of these plates off for me.
Bro, you got 8 scrambled eggs in there?
Yeah, it's a big old dish. It's got
God,
6 waffles, 8 eggs.
Diabolical, dude.
Some sausage, shredded cheese. I think that's it. Salt and pepper. It's pretty fire.
Hot sauce?
No hot. I hate hot sauce. I can't do no spicy. No. So,
all right, bro.
All right. You enjoy your Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Like and subscribe to the channel.
Go Gators.